I have decided to make this short film. This short film that you're just about to watch is about my experience having a ruptured brain aneurysm. I hope to raise awareness to families, doctors, and to the public about how such a rupture can have an impact on a person's life. This short film that you're about to watch is to raise awareness about how a ruptured brain aneurysm can affect not only the person that has had one, but also how it does affect the family. During this film, I will be talking about what I remember from that day and how I've dealt with what's happened, and a few things that have helped me deal with everyday life since that day. My day started off normal day. I went up and helped my mum with the horses, and then I shot off to university and had my morning lecture. We broke for lunch, decided to grab a coffee and go out for our usual cigarette before we ate. And that's where it happened. We had a late lunch that day. I remember looking at my watch and it said 1:05 in the afternoon, and we were talking about giving up smoking, which is quite ironic since we were there smoking a cigarette, and that's when it happened. What I remember is I started feeling a bit dizzy, and then I had this pain in my head, and it literally felt like a big burning sensation and like someone stabbing knives into my head, just repeatedly stabbing knives. And then my left side went into a type of seizure, and I found it quite funny that my arm was shaking, and I sort of said to my friends Claire and Matt, "Oh God, look at my arm, it's shaking," and it was literally just tremoring. And then I lost a visual from that moment. I heard Matt say, "Claire, dial 999. We need an ambulance." And I knew other people were around other than Claire and Matt. But at the time I didn't know who it was. So I remember briefly I opened my eyes because the light was really intense with my eyes, and I didn't need the light was hurting me so much. I still had this headache, which I now know as a thunderclap headache. And I saw a small ambulance car, and then I saw the man, the paramedic. He had black hair. He introduced himself, but I don't remember much after that. I remember them saying, "Julia, just listen for the sirens, it's not going to be long, you're going to be okay." just listen for the sirens. I listened, I didn't hear nothing. And then I heard sirens. They're really faint. So they must have been coming around down the bottom of the road. And that's all I remember at the university site. Next, my mum's crying at my side, and I was in hospital. So everyone kept asking me who the Prime Minister was, what was the day, what was my name. They asked me that repeatedly. I saw my mum crying. I sort of looked at her and said, "What are you crying for? I'm going to be okay." Which made her cry even more. Didn't know what was happening to me. I don't remember feeling a headache, but they must have given me something for the pain. I can't remember feeling the pain, but I felt like I was in a bubble. There was a big bubble around me, and all the voices were distant around. I couldn't hear them properly. And then I heard that I was being rushed up by blue light up to Frenchay Hospital. That's when it occurred to me that my children were still at school. So my mum said, "Don't worry, your sister's going to pick them up." She goes, "But what do you want us to tell them?" Because I've never lied to my children. I've suffered the lupus all my life, and I have a lot of medical issues on top of what's just happened to me. And so I've never lied to them about anything. If I'm in pain, they need to know. So, I mean, I didn't know what had happened. So I said, "Just tell them Mummy's got a headache, a really bad one, and I'm in hospital," until we knew what was happening. The next thing I remember was one by one, my family were at my side. They all stood on my right side, and one by one I saw them. Family from London, family from Plymouth, from Devon, and Yeovil. I just thought to myself, if they've come to say goodbye to me, I didn't want that to be the end. My children weren't there. And I just faded away, just didn't know anything else. Then I lost 3 weeks of my life through this aneurysm, which is a long time to lose. When I got into low dependency, that's when I started remembering. I remember seeing my children, which was really good. I fight for them every day, and I wasn't going to stop. Nothing. This aneurysm wasn't going to beat me. I remember the first time they tried to stand me up. I had so much fluid and blood pushing down on my spinal cord, and my legs just collapsed underneath me, and the pain, I must have woken the whole ward up. The pain was just so intense. So I had to start to learn to walk again, Started with a frame, and I thought only old grannies have these frames, but it was my lifeline for a long time. So I progressed to crutches, and now I'm on a stick. So I use a stick every day now. I lose my balance. One thing they did find with the aneurysm when they scanned me was that I had two. I had one ruptured, and I had one on the communicating artery on the left side of my brain. But they couldn't operate as my heart decided it was not going to play with the surgeons properly, and so they decided not to operate on the second aneurysm. So I'm hoping sometime in August that I will have an elective surgery and have this second aneurysm coiled. It should be straightforward and hopefully no complications from this surgery. So how has my aneurysm affected me now? I know my outlook on life has changed. Don't put off today what you can do tomorrow. Do it today.